Hi everyone, my name is Derek.
Hey everyone, my name is Alif.
We are from the Later. Today, we would like to present to you our program, Attendify. So before demonstrating our actual program, we would like to explain the purpose and scope of our program. Let me welcome Alif.
Thank you, Derek. First of all, what is the purpose and the objective of this program, Attendify? This program aims to enable effortless employee attendance management. With just a few clicks, you can record attendance, view working hour summaries, and calculate total salaries for any preferred duration. The scope of this program is to record employee attendance, generate daily and monthly attendance reports, calculate employees' total working hours and salary, and finally, generate reports for payroll calculation.
Now, let me demonstrate our actual program to you. When you start running our program, you'll see two buttons: Sign Attendance and Manage Employees. So if you're new to our program, you need to register as a user first. Let's click on Manage Employees and then Register. For the registration, I will use the username DER and password as 1111. Please take note that for safety reasons, our program only allows 3 registered users, meaning that you can only register 3 users in this program. Now let me take you back to the login screen. Remember to memorize your password or you won't be able to log in. So once we successfully log in, you will see the list of your employees, the time, and the buttons to manage them. As you can see, I have prepared some data to help us understand the summary function, which I will explain later on. To add new employee, simply click on the Add New button. A small window will appear where you can enter their name, phone number, and hourly rate. Once we are done, click Save, and it will ask for our login password. Just type in the password, and the employee will be saved into the database. To delete an employee, first select the employee from the list, and then click on Delete. It will ask for your login password again. Simply enter the correct password and the employee will be removed from the database. Now let me explain the summary button. When you click on the summary button, it will appear a new window asking you to select a desired duration to generate a report. I have prepared data from May 20, 2023 to June 1st, 2023 for this demonstration. Simply choose the dates and click on Submit. Next, you will see option for chart and PDF. Let me show you the chart first. Once we click the Confirm button, the program will automatically generate 2 charts and 1 table for us. The first chart displays the total working hours between the selected date. After closing this window, the second chart will appear, showing the total salary of the employee during that period. Finally, the table will be displayed, presenting both the total working hours and total salary of the employees within the chosen duration. Now let's move on to the PDF file. Once you have selected the PDF file, you will have to save your file into your desired location. Once you have saved your file, just go to the destination and click the file. In the file, you will see a table showing the total working hours and the total salary for each of your employees. Moving on to the Sign Attendance button. It serves as a tunnel to the Sign Attendance button we encountered earlier in the program. When we click on it, a window will appear where we can sign attendance. To provide further details about this feature, I will now hand over the explanation to Alif.
Thank you, Derek. Now we are going to move on to the employee side of the program. I'm going to close this interface first to provide clarity for this program. Now I'm going to run it again and start from the very beginning. Click on Sign Attendance, click Login, and type in the username and password. As you can see on the screen, this interface is what the manager would see whenever they want to sign attendances of the workers. To help you understand further, I'll demonstrate the process of signing attendances if I were to be the manager. To start with, here you can see the list of workers currently working for this coffee shop. Let's say the manager wants to sign the attendance for this worker. Here is. They can simply select the worker, and from here, the manager can click on the Present button. This interface right here is to enable the manager to set the in time of the worker once they are on duty. For example, I choose 2 PM to be their in time. Once the in time is set, it should be displayed here. Now, a couple of things to note here. Since we have already set the in time for this worker, we now cannot set it. Here, it is showing the message box that there is an error when setting up this worker to be absent. Now you should be wondering if there is a scenario where the worker will not be working for that day. Here, the manager will simply click on Absent, and a new interface will pop up which shows the reason for their absence. Let's click on emergency here, and here is the list of employees is once again updated, and right now we can see that this worker is absent and emergency being the reason. Notice that again, after setting this worker to be absent, it is now showing an error when we try to set the attendance to in the first place, this worker is signed as absent. Let's go back to this worker, here it is. They have finally done the job for the day and decided to leave at 8 p.m. The manager can set the out time of this worker again. The process is very similar to setting up the in time. Here, it is updated that their status is off work. Alright, now, it is the end of the day and it is time for the manager to wrap things up. The manager can click Submit Log to generate report for the day. Once the Submit Log button is clicked, our program will ask for password for security. Remember, the password is 1 and clicks. Box will once again pop up to show that the generation of the report is successful.
Now let's move on to the foundation of our program. We use tkinter as our primary GUI toolkit. As you can see here in the main module, we import main manager and main employee. I will explain further for the main manager, and Alif will explain main employee. As you can see here, after clicking on the Manage Employee button, it will call out the Open Manage Employee, which call out Main Manager and Login app. So let's go to Main Manager. From the start, we import PIL to display image. We import cryptography to encrypt the user's username and password. So the main purpose for this Main Manager module is to handle the login function for our program. As for the Add New, Delete and Summary button which you saw earlier is handled by Manager module, which I will explain later. The foundation functions of this module is around here. Some handle the encryption of the user's username and password, some handle the login function, and some handle the back button which we saw earlier. There are some functions at the bottom of the module. One is to clear winjets and one is to record time. Now I'll run the program again and show you one by one the functions. So in this show main menu function, it displays the background image and resize the logo image and display the login and register button. If you press the login button, it will bring us to the show login function. In the show login function, it will display the logo and our logo, the user's name label and entry, the password label and entry, the login button and the back button. So after we have entered the username and password and click login button, it will send the username and password you enter to the login function. In the login function, it will check the username and password you entered with the username and password from the database. In the login function, it will compare the username and password you have entered with the username and password in the database. If the username and password you enter is correct, it will bring you to Manager module and Authentication Login function. If it's wrong, it will display incorrect username or password, please try again. Now let's go back to the register button. When you press the register button, it will call out the show register function. In this show register function, it will display the logo, the main logo, two fields to enter username and password, the register button, and the back button. So after you have entered the username and password and click register, it will call out the register action. In this register action function, it will save your data to the database and encrypt it. There is something to highlight. When you register an account or log into our program, you will save your username and the current date and time to a text file. Other than that, in the last part of the main manager module, it will check the encrypt key file. If it doesn't exist, it will create one. If it exists, it will use the existing encrypt key to encrypt the data. Now let's move on to the manager module. In the manager module, there are authentication login function, which we saw earlier in the main manager module. In the authentication login function, it displays all the labels and all the buttons you are seeing in this interface. When you click the summary button, it will bring you to summary module and data selection pop-up function. In the summary module, it will pop up a new window for you to select the from date, the to date, and a submit button for you to submit the dates. In the generate summary function, it will merge the data from employee log with employee to calculate their work hour and total salary and generate into a report which will be written in the summary log.csv file. In the generate report function, it allows you to choose between chart and PDF. Once you have select, it will generate accordingly. This is the function to generate chart and tables. And this is the function to generate a report into the PDF. Now I'd like to show you all the files that are saving all the data. This is user.txt. User.txt is used to save the username and password of the user. In the summary log, this is used to generate the reports that we've seen earlier. And this is the encrypt key. And this is the decrypt data function. This decrypt data function is an additional function for us to see the encrypted data in the user.txt. If we run it, we shall see all the users and password inside the encrypted user.txt file.
After providing an overview of the program's functionalities, I will now delve into the underlying code that powers it. Just like the manager side of this program, the employee side of this program also implements Kinter as the main GUI used. First, the necessary libraries and modules are imported, including Kinter and GUI components, PIL for image handling, datetime for time-related operations, employee.py for further employee-related actions, and cryptography for data encryption. The login function takes a username, password, and encryption key as inputs. It reads a file called users.txt, which presumably contains encrypted user information. It decrypts the username and password using the provided key and checks if they match the provided credentials. If the credentials are correct, it returns true, indicating successful login. Otherwise, it returns false. After that, there is a class called LoginApp, representing the main application. It initializes the GUI, sets its title and dimensions, and starts by calling the showMainMenu method. The showMainMenu method is responsible for displaying the main page of the login interface. It sets a background image and resizes a logo image. It creates a logo label, a login button, and places them on the GUI. The showLogin method is triggered when the user clicks the login button. It displays the username and password fields, along with corresponding labels and an additional login button. If there is an error during login, an error label is displayed. Next, the login action method is invoked when the user clicks the login button on the login interface. It retrieves the username and password entered by the user. It then calls the login function to verify the credentials. If the login is successful, it proceeds to the employee list interface by calling employee.authentication login function. Additionally, it records the login time in a log file. Moving on to the employee.py file. Remember that all of the buttons in our program, such as the present, absent, and submit log. Here are the functions that enables this user-friendly interface. Here is the function for the button present. This is an if statement where if no worker is selected, it will show an error, and other conditions as well. As for this function submit in time, after setting the in time, it is updated through this code, and so is the out time button here. Now, since this program is designed to generate report, the save employee log function is a very important puzzle piece of this program. But what does it do exactly? When the manager submits the log for the day, the function writes the data to a CSV file, which is employeelog.csv, here for report generation. It creates a CSV dictionary writer object called writer to write rows to the CSV file, using the field names as headers. The for loop here iterates over each employee in the table using the table.getChildren method. So, for each employee, it retrieves their information, which is their name, phone number, in time, out time, status, and the reason from the table and assigns them to variables. After writing all the employee logs, it shows a message box with the message, employee log saved successfully.
In conclusion, today we have presented to you our program Attendify. We have showcased its features such as employee management, attendance tracking, and generating comprehensive reports. We believe that Attendify will greatly benefit organizations in effectively managing their workforce and optimizing productivity.
Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to implementing Attendify to empower your business success.
That's all from us. Once again, we are the later. Thank you.